Just say no. You don't have to say weird question.
I am saying weird question because these people are annoying the crap out of me.
What's up?
I didn't know you were recording. I'm selling stuff on Marketplace, and the questions I put up that I had speakers for sale, and the guy asked if I had snow shovels for sale. First of all, he goes, "How much for the speakers?" And then he said, "Do you have snow shovels?"
Yeah.
If I had snow shovels, I would have put a picture of snow shovels.
They're connected.
It's annoying.
If you have speakers, you absolutely have snow shovels to sell.
And I've been answering so many questions.
So
it's annoying.
Anyway, so this is actually the second time we're recording this podcast. We actually recorded a whole episode on the same topics, but Lena was so obnoxious on it.
I was not obnoxious.
She was like talking about people.
I was not. I wasn't. I was not obnoxious.
so we recorded. Then I did all the editing, and I was about to submit it, but it was still processing. And so I went upstairs, and she's like, "I don't think you should put that one on."
Well, because I called someone out. It wasn't in a mean way. I just called someone out, and I shouldn't have.
So anyway, this is the second take of it 2 days later, and we're doing this one earlier too. So hopefully it'll be better because neither one of us were tired.
I was so tired last night.
So we're going to talk about a couple things. Not too long today. We're going to get a little updates on where Lena's at with her competition. Oh, by the way, you notice we have a different background setting, right? So before we were doing it, from our living room with the pictures in the dining room in the back. And then, I don't know, whatever your name is, the homegirl that was complaining about all the candles in the back.
She said she stopped watching the podcast after she saw I had 4 candles lit in the background.
So this revised setting is just for you, my dear.
Wait.
No candles.
I should have ironed the sheet. I wasn't doing my...
I bought that off Wish.
Wifely duties.
No, I bought... Yeah. No. Yeah, I bought it off Wish.
It's like a tarp.
It's a tarp.
You can't iron it.
Yeah. So it just think of it as a pattern. So... So, update. So, tell us where you're at with the competition and show. Get ready.
Tomorrow is 4 weeks till I hit the stage.
So, only a month left?
Yeah, this is when it gets really hard because I get really tired super quick. Like, I am asleep by 8:30 if I can. 8. Just because I'm doing about 3 hours of workout time in the gym. It's excessive, but that's what you do before competition. So an hour of cardio in the morning, an hour of weight training, and an hour of cardio in the afternoon. So it's exhausting, and my calories are low, so my body is like fighting me. Also, I'm frustrated because I'm not where I was at this point, where I was at the last competition 4 weeks out. So it's just hard. It's mentally hard.
Well, I've just been telling her, I'm like, look, you started later, you had the surgery, your body's trying to repair itself from the surgery. So, of course, you're not going to get as lean as you were because it's a shorter period of time and your body's trying to do other things. So, I don't know. All you got to do is get in the best shape that you can.
And get a really good spray tan then.
Yeah, spray tan is not going to give you abs.
they can contour abs in there.
Yeah. So, that's kind of where she's at. Where I'm at is I just had a huge lunch today.
Oh, my gosh. She posted it. And said not to show his wife.
I went to a place on the where we live in North Omaha called Cajun Kitchen, and they have like this sampler platter which had like 3 shrimp, a catfish fillet, and it had a chicken breast, and then you got 2 sides. So I got both the sides of macaroni.
You can't see the side view of this.
And then that's why I'm wearing black.
Food baby.
And then I ordered an extra catfish fillet sandwich with fries.
Extra and fried.
But I got a Diet Pop, so it all worked itself out. But I'm trying to grow.
No, that's not the way it works. But
so
anyway.
We got really 2 topics we want to talk about today, which are the first topic is people that want to do their first show, just random people that want to do their first show, and then we're going to talk about Advocare specifically, but we're going to talk about fitness, supplement, fitness, multi-level marketing companies in general, and try to add some clarification and hopefully give you some guidance on what to think about if you want to sell these products. Not so much use them. We'll maybe talk a little bit about that, but if you want to sell the products. So first, we're going to start. We're going to start by talking about people who want to do their first show. And a disclaimer, I've never done a show, but I've been a fan of bodybuilding since 1988. So going back to Lee Haney days, back when the former 8-time Mr. Olympia, and then the female Miss Olympia at the time was Corey Everson. So I followed the sport for a long period of time. I'm a fan of the sport. I have been since, going back to the, probably late high school, early college days. And I want to see the sport do well, both the natural division and, the non-natural division. And so that's going to preface a lot of my comments. And of course, Lena, as a competitor, can preface it on her own. So this conversation started because, Lena gets asked all the time. People pop up to her and they'll say, oh, I want to do a show.
I say if I had $1 for everybody that said, hey, I want to do a show. I want to do a show. Next year, I want to do a show with you. This year, if I had $1 for everybody that said that to me in the last year, I'd probably have $50.
Yeah. And so
it's not like a ton, but it's a lot of people. And here's why we wanted to talk about this topic, because it's very frustrating for me to discourage people. The last thing I want to do is discourage you on your health and fitness journey. And when you come to me and say you want to do a show, I want to be encouraging, but I also want to be super honest with you all and let you know that it's not all it's cracked up to be, and it's a little harder than people give it credit for.
Well, yeah, go ahead, because I'm going to say what I feel in a second, so you go ahead and finish.
He's not very nice with what he has to say about it.
Well, I'm going to be nice.
Okay. So, example, if someone comes up to me and they're weighing in at 250 plus, sitting at a body fat of over 40%, and they say to me, I want to do a show in 6 months, it's really hard for me to say that's not possible. You can lose weight in 6 months. You can lose 100 pounds in 6 months. It's doable. But you're also going to be losing muscle with that and looking saggy. So it's not healthy. So I just try to encourage people and say, let's give it a little bit longer. Also, they want me to train them and coach them for these shows. I'm not a bodybuilding coach. I have a coach, so I'm a trainer. But I just want them to know that.
Keep talking.
Yeah, his computer's doing some weird voices over there. I just want them to know that without me being rude, that it's going to take longer than they expect. Also, my name is on that. So when you say you want to do a show and you want me to coach you, when you get on that stage and you're not ready and you just look like you're not ready, then that's comes back on me. So anyway, I just really try to be encouraging, but I also try to be realistic with people and say, y'all need to just give it some time to build some muscle and to give your body a chance to be ready for a stage.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's general good advice that, that I'm encouraged that so many people now feel like, doing these kind of shows is accessible, which signals a big shift in the industry, because before, like when you mentioned, when I started following bodybuilding, there's literally only 2 divisions. It was male bodybuilding and female bodybuilding. And then in some...
Let's break up the divisions real quick now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So back then, you had to be either a woman bodybuilder or male bodybuilder. And then in some divisions, it sorted out by light, heavyweight, etc., super heavyweight. And some divisions, they still do. What happened, and I don't know the exact date, but the most brilliant thing that they ever did in the sport was they started creating these other divisions, like bikini for women. Now it's bikini, which Lena competes in. Bikini is the smallest, a little bit bigger is figure, a little bit bigger is physique, and then you have women's bodybuilding. So that's that side of the equation.
And then even in that, they have it broken down to
right.
A master's.
Then you can masters, meaning that you're either over 35 or 40, depending on the league. And then in even some places, they have masters broken down to like 35 to 45, 45 to 55, and 55 plus, things like that. So what it has done, on all sides. In men's, it goes men's physique, which is the guys that pose in the shorts, classic bodybuilding, which is a little bit lighter, and then if you're in the IFBB, which is a different league, we won't get into all of that, but then you have 212, and then you have open bodybuilding. So basically what they did is they said, we want to make, competing, in quote-unquote bodybuilding more accessible to mainstream people. Because what you had happen is a lot of people would look at the guys and say that's not attainable to me. I might like to watch them compete to see how freaky, size these guys can get and compete against each other, but it's not attainable to me. And now it made it attainable to a lot more. It made it accessible to women, like Lena and others who say, I don't want to look that big. I don't want to get that big. I don't want to lift that heavy. I don't want to eat that much to do it. So it's a brilliant marketing move. It's revitalized the sport. You go to these competitions now, and you'll see in some cases you could have 20 to 30 bikini competitors in a class, which is great for the shows, and I think it's over long run great for the short of the sport.
And the reason why it's genius is because they charge for you to
They
enter the
charge.
show. So this is also something that I tell people that say they want to do shows.
Yeah.
Is first of all, the cost is crazy. Not so going back to the time and commitment it takes to do a show. If you're gonna do it right, okay, I'm going back. When I was in my very first show, there was a gal that was in bikini, and I think she took first or second, I can't remember now. But she said, "Oh yeah, I've never trained in my life. She was."
Well, I want to get to that,
Okay,
but
she
talk
was
about the
literally
cost.
like a thin. So she just got on there to do it, and she was fine. But the commitment it takes in the gym and the money it takes to do these shows. So you have to sign up for your competition and pay for it, which is between $200, $400, maybe $500. You have to pay for a suit, and suits are
They can be very
ridiculous
for women. They can be very expensive.
Between 500 is on the cheap end, and then it goes all the way up to like.
And then
I've seen some for 4,000.
some people allow you to rent them.
You can rent
And it
them.
depends on the quality of the show.
I've
too.
always bought my suits from other competitors that are done with them. They wear them one
Yeah.
time and they're done, and
You
I
get a
bought them
used
that
one.
way. Just measure yourself. But that you have to take into account tanning. So tanning is like $130 the day before the show. The polygraph test, which is $70.
If you're in a natural show.
A natural show, $70 to $100, and then you have to do your urinalysis test, which is between $50 and $100, and then you have travel expenses, hotel costs, all of that stuff. So you are paying a lot of money to do a show, which is why when they open it up for so many competitors to come in and do this, they were making so much more money because each person has to pay. So it didn't really matter if you put your time in or not necessarily. You could get on that stage and still place and not really put in the work.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and you were going to say.
So there's an expense to it. So most people who say they want to do a show the first time, they just think, oh, it looks cool that people are getting up on stage and
Confidence booster.
they're doing their T-walk, and I can get up there and lose weight and get on the show and say, hey, feel good about it. And that's what drives me nuts. So that's what triggers me. So on the one hand, I'm really excited that the sport has opened itself up over the last 15 years to all these different type of competitors. On the other side, what it's also done is allow people to kind of water down the sport because they don't really put in the work or the time. So you'll have people that, this whole body positivity stuff, which is a different conversation. And as a general rule, I'm okay with body positivity. I'm not okay with it when it comes to competing. So when you getting up on stage with other competitors, the objective is to win. That's why it's called a competition, or to try to win. Push your body to the point where you're trying to give your best shot to win or place well. It's not about body positivity. It's not about you coming down from 250 to 200 and then getting on stage and saying, look at body positive. No, you're devaluing the sport at that point. The beauty of the sport is that you're competing around trying to be in the best shape, the best condition, and do the best posing. And so the best way that I could explain it is, how would you feel if you were like, let's say, a football fan or a basketball fan, an NBA fan, and everybody got on there and one of the teams was just a bunch of rec league guys who said, hey, I can pay my entrance fee to play against LeBron and I'm going to be in the same league. And then they get on there and LeBron and the Lakers are beating them by 1,000 points, and the people in the audience are going, why is this team even on the court competing against LeBron? They don't even practice. They got a guy on the side, looking like Will Ferrell and weighing 250 pounds, and he can't jump.
Will Ferrell is hot.
So that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
And so women, my advice to women and men, but more so to women, is that if you just want to get on stage and kind of show your progress, then do a pageant. Don't do a competition. because from somebody who has enjoyed the sport for 30 years now, to me it devalues the sport.
Yes, and then also to break down, there's different federations that you can
Yeah.
enter. And I had someone just last week say, "Hey, I want to do worlds with you next year. I want to do worlds with you." And I had to, not to be braggy, but I had to explain to her that there are steps to get to that point. So, step number one is I had to do an amateur competition. I had to place in that amateur competition to win my pro card. Then, after you win your pro card, you had to place top three in order to qualify for worlds. So, there's a process. You can't just say, "Hey, I want to do this show with you." You have to earn your right to get into these shows. So it's there's a lot of different questions that people have for me, and you're more than willing to ask, and we will answer as well as we can. So that's all I have to say on this
And
topic.
don't get me wrong. I want you to compete. At some point, I would like to compete, schedule permitting, because it takes a lot of work and energy if you're really dieting. And with my schedule, finishing the PhD, I don't even know how I would be able to diet at the last couple weeks, especially if you've seen Lena. Like, you see her on social media or you see her on this. You don't see her when you didn't see her, for example, on the last day of cardio before the show, where she stopped and sat on a treadmill or stair mill and started crying.
I was
Like, I was
depleted.
there, I saw it, and she literally got off her last cardio session and started crying. You don't see that. That's the level of commitment, if you want to be good at it, that it takes. Um,
Can we pause for
yeah.
a second? Will you pause for a second? I did it out. Okay.
So that's kind of our general take on it. I want you to compete. I think it's an awesome thing. I would love to watch you and cheer you on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm biased. I'm a much bigger fan of masters, meaning the women that are older and the men that are older,
My division.
because it takes a whole lot more work when you're over 35 and 40 to come into the condition.
And most of us have families and children
Yeah.
and careers, and
Because
it's tough.
I'm very intentional. Like, I would cheer on Instagram or in person the people that are over 35 and 40, because it takes a lot of work. And
Yeah,
so, but
it
we
does.
we want you to do it.
And hormones, metabolism.
We want you to get in the gym, regardless of if you're going to compete, and you know get yourself a little bit better. You don't have to be an extremist, which some of the competitors are. Just get in the gym and do better for yourself. So if you have questions, just shoot us a comment or something like that, and we could talk about it. But if you're going to do it, take it seriously. If you're not going to take it seriously, do a beauty pageant. Uh, so next topic that we have, Lena posted on our page, and some of you may have seen it in the news, and it's about Advocare. You want to tell them what Advocare is?
So, do you want me to tell them what the article was?
No, tell them what
So
Advocare
Advocare is a company that sells supplements, health supplements. So protein drinks and multivitamins and energy stuff and just a variety of like supplements. I posted the article that said Advocare was.
They're fined $150 million by the Federal Trade Commission.
So basically, they're shutting down, I believe.
Well, they don't have to shut down. What they can't be anymore is a multi-level marketing company.
So however they can get around that is if they'll keep going.
But they could just sell the product. And so the reason we wanted to talk about this is for two reasons. One is because I want people to understand what a multi-level marketing company is. And a lot of times if you get in the fitness industry, you're either going to be sold products by somebody who's selling a multi-level marketing company that's selling fitness products or supplements, or you may even want to sell it yourself.
So I became a promoter.
Well, tell them when you
Meaning-
what you first started promoting back in the Visalis days.
Visalis was a protein drink that I used and loved, but it wasn't vegan, and so I stopped taking that. But for a while, for about a year and a half, about 14 to 18 months, I was selling it because it is actually really delicious. However, I didn't use the other products, and the people above me were asking me to push the vitamins and push the cleanse and push the other stuff that Visalis sold, and I didn't use them, and so I was not a good promoter because I would not sell somebody something that I didn't personally use and feel like was effective. So I used a protein drink. I sold a lot of the protein drink. Then I stopped using it and I stopped selling it. And then when people asked for it, I referred them to other people. So that was Visalis days. I made a little bit of money, not not very much, maybe $200 out of the year and a half I sold it. And then I opened up my business. Well, I opened my business during Visalis, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that was 9 years ago. And then I started selling. I started using this product from Advocare called Spark, which I loved. It's a pre-workout energy drink, and it has some really great ingredients in it. It's close to natural as you can probably get, and I really enjoyed it. However, I didn't use anything else from Advocare. That was the only thing I used. And Advocare approached me, or the person above me said, "Hey, if you sell it, you'll get this, or if you become a promoter, you'll get this discount, and then you can get like discounted Spark for your studio." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Like because I'm selling it or telling other people about it, and I'm sending them to this lady, and she's like, "No, just have them buy it through you." So, and then of course they want you to ask other people to start selling the product for you, which is what this lady did to me, asked me to sell it. So she got a cut off of what I sold. So it just trickles down. So I did start selling Advocare only Spark. I ordered a bunch and put it in my studio and sold it that way, and never had anybody sell underneath of me because I just didn't use any of the other products, and it just didn't feel like I was a good representation of the brand, so I wasn't a good promoter. But my accountant for my business started pointing out that I was actually losing money selling this product, and I didn't realize it, but I was paying all of these fees, yearly fees, and then because I was running my business, I was paying taxes on it, which a lot of promoters don't do. And if you're selling a product, you really should claim it on your taxes because it's the legal thing to do. Any money that you make, you need to claim. And there's just so many, I don't think the IRS can keep up. But it's just the right thing to do. And because I was running a business, I wanted to keep everything, in check. So my accountant said, "Yeah, you've lost thousands of dollars with this product." And I didn't realize I was losing, but it was automatically being withdrawn from my account, these yearly fees throughout the year. And the fact that the money that I was claiming, the taxes were really high on it. So for every $10 I was selling to people, I was making maybe $2 off of it, and then I was putting that back into my fees. That's just a super
So
wide
forward.
example.
So that's kind of the context for kind of Advocare and the $150 million fine that they got. And what prompted this is Lena kind of put a post on our Facebook linking it to the Advocare and the fine and everything that why the Federal Trade Commission kind of shut them down. And people were like, asking questions. Well, didn't you sell Spark?
I had to take some comments
Well,
down because they were not very nice.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, and that's amazing. I never get negative comments on my stuff.
I do.
Well, I
I
take
do,
that back.
yeah.
I do get negative comments, but maybe I just respond to them differently. Like, I invite controversy, and Lena's more of a genteel spirit than I am. But some
I
of
just
the
don't like negativity on
but
my
some
page.
of the some of the tone of the comments were, kind of like
Why are
critiquing
you
her and
putting
saying,
this
why
up
are you
there
why are you putting something up
when
saying
you
that they
sold
got
it to
fined when you
me?
sold it? And I think it's useful for people to understand because there's a lot of misinformation or misunderstanding about what a network marketing, multi-level marketing is, what a pyramid scheme is, and the distinction between the product and the business model. And so I think hopefully this will educate some of you if you ever want to do multi-level marketing, or also understand what the product is and what you're selling to people and the value of that. Them getting fined $150 million and shutting down had nothing to do with the quality of the product. So people who bought Spark, people who sold Advocare, or some of these other things like Herbalife or whatever, Visalis, the products can be good or bad based upon whether the product is good or bad.
Right.
So they could have a great multivitamin or a terrible multivitamin. They could have a great protein or a terrible protein.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you have to research on if you're going to sell it or if you're going to buy it. That's your consumer diligence that you have to say, wow, okay, yeah, Herbalife, for example, has a great product and I want to buy it because it's going to help me reach one of my goals. That's fine. The challenge with Advocare and why they got fined was because of what is known as a pyramid scheme. So a normal network marketing business basically is You have one person who sells. They then recruit to get other people to sell, and those people get other people to sell, and that's why they call it a pyramid. And so the top person gets residuals from the person beneath them, and the person beneath them, and the person beneath them. And so a percentage of it flows up top. Nothing illegal about it. And actually, I think it's a brilliant business model if it's done ethically and correctly. And it allows a lot of people to get into business for relatively cheap as long as they can sell a product. So that's it. Now, what makes it a pyramid scheme and why FTC came down so hard on Advocare is because if it's a pyramid scheme, if two things happen. First, that they're misrepresenting what suppliers like Lena can make when they sell it. So if there's a lot of hidden fees or things where if you're selling product but you're not really generating revenue and the business is only making money from the fees which the downstream, the people down on the pyramid are paying up, then it's a pyramid scheme. It's considered a pyramid scheme if the business model itself only exists and can be supported. The top can only be supported if new people come in on the bottom. So if it's not about generating revenue from the product, but it's about generating revenue only from the fees of the people downstream, it's considered a pyramid scheme. So when you get into these network marketing or multi-level marketing companies, the things you should ask, I'm not encouraging you to steer away, but the things that you should ask are things like, what are the annual fees? What happens if I don't recruit new people? How much am I going to generate in revenue from the products that I sell? And what are any kind of ongoing or hidden maintenance fees?
Also, I think you really should try the products before you sell them,
Yeah.
and be genuine about it. I mean, maybe that's just my personality.
I have a
He's
different
little
feeling. I have a
different.
different feeling on that. Like,
He's a little different.
I give you an example. So if I owned a retail store, it doesn't mean I'm aware of every piece of clothing
Yeah, but
that's
when
in
it's
there.
stuff you put in your body, and we have different views on that. I feel like it's super important for me to be honest with my clients, and I didn't like certain things, and I was like, I don't like this because of this, and I don't like this because of this ingredient in it, and I will not use this because of
But
this.
that doesn't
But I
mean that
use these
they.
other things.
That doesn't mean that they.
That
won't
doesn't
like
mean
it,
that they
though.
won't like it, but I'm being honest with them. There's one product that was supposed to like burn fat, and I was like, no, nothing in this ingredient list
Yeah.
says it is gonna burn fat. So that was misleading to me, and I needed to be honest with people. I loved the spark, and so on this comment on my post, I said, hey, I loved it. I used it. Yes, I sold it to you, but I was paying, literally paying to sell you this product. And so I was paying to have people buy it from me, which made no sense whatsoever. And that's why I got out of it. But the product was great. I liked it. I don't know if I will ever sell a product again. It's just not my thing. It's hard for me to do that.
It's hard. I mean, network marketing is hard because it is a sales game. You have to
And you have
be
to
able to get out
constantly,
and sell and constantly sell, sell, sell.
yeah.
But in that regard, it's honestly no different from any business. So, kind of summarize, Advocare was fined, and and this may not be accurate, but it was in the report that I read, where they suggested that some of these other fitness industry and supplement industry multi-level marketing companies may also be on the radar of the FTC as well,
Yeah.
unless they change their business model. So if you get into it, like literally everybody that was in the pyramid of Advocare now is going to either have to stop selling it or they're going to have to switch totally the business model because Advocare can't be, according to the government, a network marketing company anymore. So now imagine the thousands of people that are selling it, the implications that has on them. So if you're going to sell, make sure you do your due diligence. Find a good company, a company that you can support. You don't have to use all the products, in my opinion, but you have to make sure that the company's up and up has valuable products, that you're not getting stuck with a bunch of hidden fees. On the user side, I would tell people don't be scared of using an Advocare product, a Herbalife product, but you just have to do your due diligence on it the same way if you bought it from a supplement store or Walmart. Because that's what you're putting things in your body for a purpose, and you want to make sure you know what they are. And you got any final words on that?
Nope.
So that's just words of wisdom for some folks that have been in that field before. So really, those are the main topics. We are going to put out a poll. We talked about it on the last one, and then Lena really wanted me to edit that part out. So we're going to be a little more nice about it this time. Lena has, been having her feud with the person at Planet Fitness.
It's not
It's
a
the
feud.
silent. It's the silent
It's
feud.
not. I've
Um,
been so kind,
at some point,
smiling and
at
waiting.
some point, it's gonna bubble over, and they're gonna go fight in the parking lot. And then she got real mad. I'm gonna tell you, she got
What?
real
Oh
mad.
my gosh, what?
She got real mad at not at this person she's feuding with, but at this guy, because this guy was hitting on this lady that she has this silent feud with, and so he was telling her, "Oh, you're the strongest. You're the strongest woman in the gym." And Lena got so mad on that. She was talking to the car. She's not the strongest woman in the gym. I'm way stronger than her. So
I did get a little fussy about that.
so the feud is ongoing. So it's gonna bubble over. But
It's healthy to have some
all of that to
competition.
say, and that aside, I'm going to keep it very general. I'm not even going to be specific at all. The polling question we're going to put up is, if somebody smelled terrible every day, not just one day in the gym, not just a random act of mustiness, but every day in the gym, if they smelled to the point where everybody else was talking about how bad they smelled every day, would you tell that person or not?
That's the question.
That's the question we're going to put up. We want to see the polling results. Again, the poll question of this podcast is, if somebody smelled every day to the point where people literally did not want to work out by them, 2 or 3 machines
bad.
away,
It's bad.
would you tell them how bad they smelled?
Okay, and I think it matters if it's a female or a male. And so it's a female. I do think
I don't think it matters.
I do
look,
think it matters.
Being funky is being funky.
Well, she walks in and she's not funky. And then when she sweats, it's people go like this.
Guy or girl, but like,
And
if
walk
it's
away
a guy
like
or a girl, it doesn't matter.
Employees have been informed.
If you stink, you
Front desk
stink.
people have been told.
If you stink, you stink.
She's talked about.
And we're not saying if it's that random act of mustiness, because you've all been musty before. I never have. I always smell like roses and daisies.
No.
Lena's
no.
Lena starts stinking sometimes. But,
I do, but I know when I stink, and I'll be like, babe, I smell bad.
and I'll be like, yeah.
I know when I smell, and I will tell people around me, I'm like, that's me. I
But
smell bad.
we're not talking about that. We're talking about if every day
And it's the same
it
smell.
happens.
And it's.
Would you tell that person? So that's the question today. That's all we got. Make sure you like and share the link whichever way you're watching it: Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, website. Make sure you share. We'll continue to bring you topics around being fit over 40 and things related to the fitness industry. Any other thing you want to say?
Nope.
That's all we got for you. We're out.